Hello everyone, my name's Cliff and welcome back to the channel. This is Cliff's Dark Gems, and if you're new here, welcome for the first time. And tonight we're going to do just a reading update for the month of October, and this includes some Occult Detective October and some clowns and spiders and some flies. Stay tuned. Okay everyone, before we get into the books, just very briefly, I just want to talk about my channel very quickly, because I've been doing some thinking about the way I structure my reading updates and my wrap-ups for the end of the month, and I've just been thinking, I don't want to repeat myself, or kind of how to do things, and I'm going to post this on a community page as well. Maybe do where you can choose what you prefer. But I also would like to hear from you in the comments below. Should I do like detailed reading updates and then just skim through everything at the end of the month, or the other way around, and maybe just reviews? Okay, that's not going to happen because I like my wrap-ups, I like my TBRs, but maybe post a review of some of my favorite reads of the month. Let me know what you think in the spaces down below. I'd love to hear from you. Okay, first of all, what I'm reading right now is Halloween Fiend by C.B. Hunt, and I'm only on chapter 1, but I'm really enjoying it. A lot of fun so far. Kind of creepy, dark, a lot darker than I expected, and about this Halloween creature called Halloween, kind of haunting a small town, terrorizing a small town. Every night before nightfall they lock the doors, and this is the thing that's got to me so far. It's kind of made me squirm a bit. I hope they don't play into it too much, because it's like a trick or treat. You got to leave a treat for Halloween, otherwise he's going to play a nasty trick on you, which is not going to work out well. And the treat is in the form of maybe a small creature. Well, what I've read so far is that the one neighbor has got a cage out in front, the door's closed, everything, with a small cat, and the other one's got a small hamster. And they look like treats for this creature. Now, I was just thinking, kind of suspension of disbelief. I was just going somewhere with this. Where do they get all the treats? Is there like a hamster sort of factory? Because this happens every single night with the people in this town. Aren't they going to run out of hamsters or kitty cats? So do they have some kind of factory where they just produce them so that they can put something in front of the door, when this monster appears? Just sort of thought about that. That's kind of insane thinking, but I'm enjoying it so far. It sounds like it's going to be pretty dark, but it's a fun read so far. I'll let you know. Okay, before we go to the books that I have read, my wife has just reminded me that hamsters are a little bit like bunnies, and so maybe there's lots of them, so not really a factory producing thing, but it's just a funny thought. Okay, let's talk about the books that I have read this month. I've already done one update, but this last week or so I've read Every Dead Thing by John Connolly. Now this was excellent, beautifully told. It was a reread for me, and I forgot how freaking dark it is, how bleak, bloody, and at times pretty damn brutal as well. Subject matter, and just the tone throughout this book is just so dark. And it's kind of part of the Occult Detective October, run by the awesome MJ, because it's about a detective, or a former detective, And he retired because he couldn't handle it, because his wife and daughter got brutally murdered, and he's suffering from extreme guilt, and just, yeah, he can't get over what happened to them. And the worst part of it is that at the beginning of the book, he's like an alcoholic. He drinks like excessively. He's not getting on with his wife. He loves them. He loves both his wife and his daughter. And the night he got murdered, he has a fight with his wife, and he goes to the pub to drink. And coming back home, yeah, drunk as a skunk, he goes into the house and finds him literally torn up. And yeah, it is a very dark book, and he is, as I say, torn by guilt and desperate for revenge, to find this killer. And the book really, he's a central character. I think one of the problems I have with the book is that it's so dense, in terms of there are so many characters, there are so many subplots, and the book is kind of divided into two, because although he's after the killer of his wife and young daughter, he gets kind of hooked up into this missing girl case, and that leads to a different story that kind of ends at halfway, and then carries on looking for this killer. But yeah, just to give you an idea of how dark this book is, I picked out a little bit to read, and it's not right at the beginning, but don't worry, it's not a spoiler. But it's basically the last night, the last time he sees his daughter. And he's reading her bedtime story, and what the author does is he kind of has a little bit of his reading his daughter's story, and then to an autopsy and how an autopsy works. So yeah, just listen to this. Read me a story, Daddy. What story do you want to hear? A funny story. The Three Bears. The baby bear is funny. Okay, but then you have to go to sleep. Okay, one story. One story, then I go to sleep. In an autopsy, the body is first photographed clothed and naked. Certain parts of the body may be x-rayed to determine the presence of bone fragments or foreign objects embedded in the flesh. Every external feature is noted: the hair color, the height, the weight, the condition of the body, the color of the eyes. Baby bear opened his eyes wide. Somebody's been eating my porridge and it's all gone. All gone. All gone. The internal examination is conducted from top to bottom, but the head is examined last. The chest is examined for any sign of rib fractures. A Y-shaped incision is made by cutting from shoulder to shoulder, crossing over the breast, then moving down from the lower tip of the sternum to the pubic region. The heart and lungs are exposed. The pericardial sac is opened and a sample of blood is taken to determine the blood type of the victim. Okay, I'm going to skip a little bit. And then Goldilocks ran away, and the three bears never saw her again. Read it again. No, we agreed. One story, that's all we have time for. We had more time. Not tonight. Another night. No, tonight. No, another night. There'll be other nights and other stories. The abdomen is examined, and any injuries are noted before the removal of the organs. Fluids in the abdomen are analyzed, and each separate organ is weighed, examined and sectioned. The contents of the stomach are measured. Samples are taken for toxicological analysis. The order of removal is usually as follows: the liver, the spleen, the adrenals, the kidneys, stomach, pancreas and intestines. Okay, it goes on a little bit from there, this chapter, and it gets worse. And that particular chapter in this book kind of haunted me. As I say, this book goes to dark places, and although it's kind of a crime detective novel, solved in crimes, very dense, it is brutal, and it's unrelenting in its darkness. Even though the prose is gorgeous, kind of exquisite, the way it describes the scenes. You just get this heaviness throughout the book. So if you are a horror lover, I really strongly recommend Every Dead Thing by John Connolly. Okay, the second book for Occult Detective October is Ancient Sorceries by Algernon Blackwood, who is becoming one of my favourite authors. This is a short story, not long at all. It's about 100 pages, maybe less. And yeah, I've read The Willows, I've read The Wendigo, and I absolutely adored those stories. This is perhaps not as dark and horrifying, and yeah, but I really enjoyed it. And it's a recurring character called John Silence, and he's a psychic doctor, and in this case more like a psychic psychiatrist. And he gets his character telling him a story about something that happened to him. He's very disturbed, and so he's telling his story, and his only job really in the story is to listen and maybe try and help this character. And yeah, so this character ends up in a little small town in France, and something is wrong with this town. In the mind of the character, everyone in the town is acting like cats almost, cat-like, feline-like, and it's something just off. You know, it feels like everyone is looking at him when he goes out into the town without actually looking at him. And it's like everything in the town is waiting for him, you know, to make a move or to be something. Now, it kind of hints in the title, Ancient Sorceries. Do I really need to tell you what sorcery is about? You know, kind of witchcraft and wizardry, that kind of thing. But yeah, what I love about the story, besides the atmosphere, the way that Algernon Blackwood writes, yeah, very atmospheric, very rich. The story is kind of layered. It's got all sorts of things happening, and it does build to an excellent climax. And I'm really not going to say much more about that because it's short. And yeah, pick it up, give it a read. You might enjoy it. So that is Ancient Sorceries by Algernon Blackwood. Okay, next up we got Of Foster Homes and Flies by Chad Lutzke. Now I've just finished this book today, and you know, when I sit down with a Chad Lutzke book, I start reading, and normally the kind of thing is quite simple, the storyline is quite simple, but I sit down and it's like I've had a spell cast over me, by the words, by the language, and it's something deeper. I mean, the basis of the story is that there's a 12-year-old boy, and he's got an abusive mother. His dad has died, and yeah, she kind of beats him, sometimes kicks the family dog. Don't worry, doesn't go into detail or anything. So yeah, he's not particularly fond of his mother, don't blame him. And then one morning his mother dies, and she's alcoholic as well, drinks like a bottle of, I think it's vodka, every night before she beats him. And she's lying in front of the TV, or sitting on a chair in front of the TV, and she's died. So what's he going to do? Because the thing is, he loves reading, he loves language, and there's a spelling bee at his school, and he's absolutely adamant that he needs to go to the spelling bee and win a prize for himself, whether it's a little ribbon or a trophy or whatever. He has to go and attend and try and win. You know, his dad has a few trophies. He's never been into sports, so his dad has trophies, and he wants to win something, perhaps for his dad. Now, so he decides, should I phone and call in about my mother who's just died, or should I wait for 4 days and maybe just, you know, let me do the spelling bee and then I'll phone in. And that's what he decides to do. And it is midsummer. So he basically, yeah, tries to live out the 4 days. All sorts of things happen to him, and I'm not going to tell you anything more. But what I love about this writer is just how he captures things like trauma, things like abuse, and coming of age. You care, you feel about the characters, especially this boy. So it's horror, but it's horror with heart. And it's kind of an underlying disturbing stuff that happens that makes it horror. But it's at its heart, it is just the coming of age. And you care about this boy. Please let him go to the spelling bee. I mean, a 12-year-old. Please let him go. Let him experience this. Let him win. So you're just shouting for this character. And there's no other author that actually has been able to make me feel like that. Like he casts a spell over me with his words, with his writing, and you care. So that is of Foster Homes and Flies. Okay, and the final book that I've read so far in October is Clowns vs. Spiders by Jeff Strand. And I just want to remind you all that we, as in Crits from Secrets Reads, awesome channel, and myself, yours truly, we have created a book club called Fright Club, right? And October read is Clowns vs. Spiders. So we're going to have a live chat about this book on Sunday. Tune in, be there. If you've read the book, it's all about spoilers. But yeah, I absolutely love the story. I'm going to tell you right now, this is a 5-star read for me. Why? Because it's just so much fun. And you got these clowns who absolutely love making kiddies happy, children happy. And one in particular is very, very sensitive and kind of gets traumatized if a child starts crying. So they're happy clowns, they're good clowns. And then one day they are fired from their job at the circus because now clowns are bad because of media, whatever. Damn, Stephen King, I blame you, right? So now clowns are bad, Pennywise, all those things. So kids hate clowns now. And desperately, they desperately need another job. So they end up getting a job at this haunted house where they have to turn into nasty clowns, evil clowns, demonic clowns. And they don't particularly like this. And one or two of them, especially this one clown, gets really upset. But anyway, it's not going to last long because something worse is about to happen. They're going to have an invasion of spiders the size of your head. And they're going to have to deal with that. Clowns versus spiders. What I love most about this book is just how the author, Jeff Strand, and he does it in other novels as well, he just skillfully blends horror and comedy so that you get scared and you laugh out loud, kind of at the same time. And believe me, this book gets freaking gory, but it is fun at the same time. It is just pulpy fun. So yeah, it doesn't take itself too seriously, but it's kind of 5 stars because I had a good time with it, and it's the kind of book that I'll read again. And I always tell myself, am I going to want to read this book again? If I do, I'm going to give it 5 stars. So it's like 4.5 rounded up to 5 stars. I had a fun time. It is Clowns vs. Spiders. And don't forget to join us on Sunday where we talk about this thing. And I want to add something to that as well. I hope you've stayed with me this long. But from next year, Chris and I are going to start having guests on our show for the live streams. So if there's a particular subgenre, and I'm going to mention this on my community page as well, but if there's a particular subgenre that you really enjoy and you feel that you'd love to talk about it, let us know. Let me know, let her know, and we'd love to have you on our live stream so we can start talking next year with other booktubers as well. So yeah, just let us know. Okay everyone, so let me know what you think in the dark spaces below. Just remember, do you want me to do kind of detailed wrap-ups or kind of updates? Where do you see my channel going? How would you like to see it? I know one thing I've been doing is I haven't really done a lot of book reviews. I'd like to start doing more, particularly with 5-star books that I've read in the month. let me know if you'd like to see more of that as well. And have you read any of these books? Don't forget to visit our Discord. I say our, but it's under Critz's name, Crit's Secret Read. And yeah, I'll try and link that below as well. But yeah, pay a visit and let us know. Hope you're doing well. Take care of yourselves. Keep those pages turning, and cheers.